Hey y'all, welcome to Naturally Extra, and today this is going to be my first actual tutorial, and so I really hope that this kind of works out because I spent 10 forevers trying to get a decent camera angle so you can actually see what I'm doing, because I don't want to just give you recipes. I want to actually show you step by step how to do these, even though they are quite simple, and especially these two recipes that we're going to do today. So today we are going to be making an all-purpose cleaner that is also a degreaser, and we're going to be making a window cleaner. And so we're also going to be taking in information about products that cannot be combined, because unfortunately I see recipes everywhere, Pinterest of course, that have ingredients that are not supposed to be combined together because either they are dangerous or they are incredibly ineffective. I'm looking at you, Pop Sugar, because I used tons of your recipes when I first got started, and you combine all kinds of whatnot together that should not be done. So there you go. So don't use Pop Sugar recipes, FYI. So today we are going to make, like I said, an all-purpose cleaner that is also a degreaser. Now it is made with a citrus infused vinegar. So this is not something that you are going to be able to use today. If I were you, I would go ahead and start the citrus infused vinegar, and then I would wait 2 weeks from now, because that's how long it takes, and then make the all-purpose cleaner and the window cleaner. Or you could make it with just plain old regular vinegar without infusing it. It won't be quite as a powerful degreaser, but it will certainly work to clean whatever you need. Now you're going to need to make both of these DIYs. You're going to need plain old white distilled vinegar, isopropyl alcohol, borax, and mine's in a bag because the box is scratched. Dish soap. Now typically if I was doing a DIY I would be using Dawn or Gain, but I ran out of dish soap and this is what I have right now. This Ajax is honestly still a pretty decent brand, so it will be okay, but definitely make sure that if you have the option, get Dawn or Gain. And yes, Mama, I know that it's orange. Don't say anything. Moving on. You're also going to need some water. Now you can use distilled water, but I really don't see the point when you can just take your tap water and you can boil it for 10 minutes. You want it to get to a rolling boil. Now, and that's actually what I've done here. I have some water cooling on the stove right now. And then you're going to need something to store these in. Now today what I'm going to do is, I already have, this is what the finished all-purpose cleaner looks like. I made this about a week and a half ago, but I wanted to make sure that I was actually making it for the tutorial, and so I'm going to make a bottle of this for my grandmother. Now, if a lot of you probably already know that if you're going to use something with essential oils in it, it is recommended that you do use glass, because it can actually eat the toxins out of plastic. Now that really only applies to if you are storing something for 6 months or longer. This will definitely be used up by 6 months. So that being said, you probably have recognized this bottle, some of you have, as a Bragg's bottle, and that is exactly what this is. It's a Bragg's raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar. These bottles, really cool thing, you can take the lid off, and a conventional spray nozzle like this will work. It will fit right on there. And so that way you can store them in a glass bottle. You don't even have to really go out and buy a glass bottle for those of us that have a grocery budget set. You won't even have to go out to buy a glass bottle, and you can just use this. But you do not need to rush out right now and go get a glass bottle if you don't have one. If you've got a plastic bottle like what your old all-purpose cleaner was in, then go ahead and use that. That's fine, because I don't see the point in trying to make a channel that makes videos for people that are on a very tight budget, have to go out and purchase something for one specific recipe, whereas all of these products that we're going to use today can be used for several other DIYs. There is a cat in my shot. She wants out. So let's go ahead and get started. So to make your citrus infused vinegar, obviously we're going to need citrus, and to do that, that's disgusting, get down. To do that, we are going to make some we're going to need orange peels, lemon peels, limes, grapefruit, tangerines. And so I've already made this. This has been infusing for 2 weeks. If you were making this today, right now, what you would do is, what I do is I keep a freezer bag, a Ziploc freezer bag, and every single time that I use something citrus, so like if I ream some lemon peel, some lemons to make like a marinade or make juices or something, or limes, I throw them right in there because, yeah, you might get a little bit of pulp in there, but it's going to be strained and it's not a big deal. My kids eat oranges like crazy, tangerines, grapefruit. Just keep it in a bag. And when you have enough to fill up one of your jars, you do that. So the first thing is, I forgot to grab a bowl. Give me just a second. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do is, what you would typically do if you had not made this yet is you would just simply take a clean jar that has been washed and dried in hot soapy water, and you're going to cram it full of all of your peels, all of your citrus peels, and then you're going to fill it to the top with vinegar. Then this is going to sit somewhere where it can get a little bit of sunlight. Now in my kitchen, and you can see this, it looks like I have this little window here, and then I have this little tiny bit of wasted space that nothing really works on, but this is a great spot for me to put this, and I don't mind this sitting out because I hate things sitting out in my kitchen, because this is my kitchen, this right here, so it is quite small. Let that sit for 2 weeks. Now there are some infused citrus recipes that are going to tell you that you should put it in a cool, dark place, like in a cabinet. I don't do that. I've done it. I feel that this is more effective. So you're just simply going to strain this. If you want to do it in the dark, you definitely can. There's no reason you can't. I just find that this works better. So I'm just going to sit this in here. Now this is a sifter. I used to have one of those nifty little strainers that actually sat on a bowl. My kids broke it, so I don't have that anymore. So now we're going to let this sit for a little bit, so every single bit of oil, because those little peels have absorbed quite a bit of that vinegar. So now we're going to take our boiled water. I boiled about 3 cups of water. 3 cups of water, because I want to have enough to make my glass cleaner as well, and you're going to need water for that, so you might as well just go ahead and do enough for both. So for this, we're going to do about 1/4 cup. And actually, because it works better this way, we're going to add about a tablespoon of borax to the glass measurer. Now, you can use really anything, but this is the best for something like this because it has a pour spout and because it is a measurer. My cat's going crazy right now. So there's a tablespoon. I'm going to go ahead and put this away because I'm done with it now. And that's how us mamas do stuff. And not my towel on the floor. Okay. And then we're going to pour about 1/4 cup in here. Now these measurements are not exact. This is not like when you're baking a cake and you have to have super precise measurements or the cake's going to fall or ruin. This doesn't work like that. And so now we're just going to whisk this in until it dissolves. It works best if you boil the water, and the second you take it off, which it needs, like I said, it needs to come to a rolling boil for 10 minutes. It works best if the second you pull it off, you go ahead and do this. But I let it sit because I was getting everything ready. It will be okay though. To that, we're going to add about a teaspoon of dish soap. Now, I spoke earlier about ingredients that shouldn't be combined. And I know that some of you might be thinking that because we're using dish soap, you might say, oh, well, you know, I have Castile soap, and Castile soap is way better than dish soap, so I think I'm going to add that too. No, Castile soap is a base, and vinegar is an acid, and you should not typically you should not combine acids with bases, because actually what happens is they will cancel one another out. Now, some people don't realize that Castile soap is actual soap. It is made from oil, whereas dish soap is what we would call a detergent. It is not a soap. So when you are canceling out something that is made from oil, it returns to straight up oil, or in smarter terms, unsponified soap. And what that translates into is a very sticky, nasty film over all of your products. And it's going to leave this gross film all over your floors. And I say this because I found it out the hard way. I actually made a floor cleaner, and it called for dish soap. And my floor cleaner is very simple. And if you want exact recipes, I'll give it to you. But all it is vinegar, isopropyl alcohol, a good squirt of dish soap, and then hot water and a couple of oils. And I made that, and I thought, oh, well, I'll just put this Castile soap in it, because that's just going to work even better. You see my floors there in the background. This is peel and stick. My whole house is covered in peel and stick, and I mopped my whole house with that. And so then I had to turn around and mop my floors with incredibly strong vinegar water to get all of it off. It was horrible. It will not hurt you, but it's a waste of money, because when you combine a base and an acid, they cancel one another out, which means they neutralize. So we ruined the disinfecting power of the vinegar and the cleaning power of the vinegar, and we completely neutralized the cleaning power of the Castile soap. So it's pointless, and it's a waste of money. And Castile soap, I mean, it's not super expensive, but it darn sure isn't cheap either. Okay, so you saw me just doing this, and I'm just going to go over this. I pressed my spoon down in here really hard to get the rest of the liquids out. And I didn't mean to do that. And so you can just squeeze these. What I usually do, and I'm being a little bit lazy here, I guess you could say, is that I normally would spoon all of those into my sifter. And then I would use a spoon to squish them down. But I didn't today. So now what I'm going to do is this will go on my compost, this mixture of peels, and then this jar will be washed in hot soapy water and then dried. And then immediately, once it's completely dry, I'm going to go ahead and fill it up with more peels and then put vinegar in it and put it back so it can steep for 2 weeks. So when I run out of this, I've got infused vinegar already ready to go. Now, this vinegar can be used for anything that calls for vinegar. I particularly only use it for this cleaner, but you can definitely use it for anything that you want. So, now that we've got these two going, this is cool enough to add together. So, we're going to add some essential oils to these. If you do not have essential oils, you do not have to add them, but they definitely are a good investment to make, especially if you're going to continue making products, because a lot of people think that we're putting essential oils in these strictly for scent, and we're not. We're actually using them for their properties too that they have. So to every single thing that I make, don't care what it is, especially if it contains water, I add 5 drops of tea tree oil. Now, tea tree oil is antifungal, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral. And especially the antifungal part is important because it prevents mold from growing in your products that you've made. Because more often than not, when your products become contaminated, which I've never had that happen, but when they do, it is usually because of your storage containers that you've put them in. So make sure every single thing is washed with hot and soapy water. That includes your utensils, everything that we're using here today. Make sure it's clean. To that, we're going to add 10 drops of every single citrus oil that you own. Now that would of course be orange, tangerine, lime, lemon, and grapefruit. I am out of everything but orange and tangerine. Normally I would do 10 drops of each, but because I'm out of all the others, I'm going to do 15 of each. Molly, get off the counter. So here's 15. By the way, this is the only spot of the counter that she is allowed on, because I do not prepare food here, because how could you? I mean, really. So 15 drops of each. Now, for sake of time, I'm doing this a little bit faster. Normally what I would do is I would take a knife, a little steak knife like this, and I would slide it under here and I would pop this off, and then I would take a glass eyedropper and I would measure out my drops. I don't want to keep you on here for 20 minutes. Okay. And so now we're just going to whisk this together. And then this is going, you can pour this, you can do this several ways. You could pour this directly into here, or you can pour this into here and then mix it. It really doesn't matter. But this is how I'm going to do it today. Make sure you get all of it out. We don't want any waste. And then we'll whisk this together just to make sure everything's incorporated. Do not whisk too hard because you have to put dish soap in this and you are going to have foam like crazy if you do. And so this is ready to be poured into your bottle. And so you're going to take your funnel here. Make sure it's all bent up like mine is. And you're going to just pour it in. And what we'll do is this will not fill this bottle up. So we're going to take some of the boiled water that we made and we're going to top it off with that. And what you can do, because this will, well, you can't see it too good. This is, see how much this is sudsed up? As this sits, the suds will go down. So what you can do, if you prefer, is to sit this somewhere and then just let it sit for a while. And once it's done, once this has calmed down, you can add more, you can add your water to it. It doesn't really matter. It's one of those personal preference kind of things. Now, make sure that you label this. You should always label everything that you make, and I find the easiest way to label stuff is with washi tape and a Sharpie. You can also use masking, but washi tape you can actually get wet, and it's like a paper tape, but it works quite well for something like this. So just shake that out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to the side. Typically I would label this before I put stuff in it, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we put borax in this also, and I know that a lot of people that have gotten a little bit into making these products do know that baking soda can make a great substitute for borax, and it can, especially because they are both very similar when you're talking about abrasiveness and if that's what you're using it for. We are not using the borax in this recipe for abrasiveness. We're actually using the borax for a degreaser. That's also what our citrus oils are in there for. They're for cleaning and degreasing, whereas the vinegar is in there for disinfecting and the cleaning powers. And also another thing to remember is that there is a difference between cleaning and disinfecting. So bleach has absolutely no cleaning power whatsoever, but it will disinfect anything it comes in contact, but it's not actually going to clean something. That's why they make Clorox cleanup, which is essentially Clorox with a little bit of dish soap and water in it. We're not doing all that, but that's a good example for you, I guess you could say. So anyway, back to the baking soda thing. Baking soda does make a wonderful replacement for borax. In this instance, do not do that, please. Borax is perfect for this recipe because borax can safely be mixed with vinegar. Baking soda, however, cannot. Now, I know we all know what happens when we mix baking soda and vinegar together, and that is because baking soda is a base and vinegar is, of course, an acid. And when we mix them together, they create a chemical reaction where they are canceling one another out and they are fizzing. When this happens, you are left with salty, foamy water. Okay, because they've neutralized one another. So all of the disinfecting and cleaning power that you are getting from your vinegar and all of the cleaning and abrasiveness that you are getting from the baking soda is absolutely gone. So anytime you see a cleaner that has both of them in there, it's pointless. You're wasting your money. You're making water. The only times that you should be using baking soda and vinegar together are in science experiments and to unclog a drain. And it definitely works very well for unclogging a drain because it's that chemical reaction itself that is actually doing the job. You're not using it for the cleaning power, okay? So now we're going to go on to the window cleaner. And this is probably one of the easiest DIYs you will ever make. Now, I don't typically do this. Normally, I would use all of this up and then wash the bottle and redo it. This, by the way, this is washi tape, and this bottle, every single time I use it, gets washed, and you see this tape is on here. This is the first label I've ever put on here. I need to actually put new labels on it. But I'm just going to add to it. That way you can see what to do. Now, when I make this, I typically double this, okay? So If you're going to make this for yourself, double these, but because I already have quite a bit in here, I'm going to do what I would typically do. So we're going to do a third, let me look at this just to double check because I forget this all the time. Right, okay, so a third of a cup of white vinegar. Let me rinse this out real quick. And, I completely forgot where I was going now, I'm sorry. Okay, that's good enough. So we're going to put the funnel in here, and we're going to do a third of a cup of white vinegar, and I'm not going to forget my train of thought again. Probably will. Actually, when you do liquid measurers, you are supposed to do this on a level surface, and that is actually why this is shaped like this, is because you're supposed to read it at eye level. I'm a baker. I love to bake. You read it at eye level so that this looks right. That's why this is at an angle, so it's simulating eye level. So we're going to do a third of a cup of this, and then a half a cup of rubbing alcohol. Now the alcohol is in here to make it evaporate. I probably shouldn't even measure this. To make it evaporate very quickly so it reduces streaks. Now this makes an excellent stainless steel cleaner if you have it. Do not put this on granite. Do not put anything that contains vinegar on granite. You will ruin it. But this, if you have like a stainless steel fridge or a stainless steel stove, this is wonderful for it. You probably could dissolve a tablespoon of borax in it to get more of a degreaser, because it's the high alcohol content that works so well with stainless steel, because you know stainless steel with the oils from fingerprints, it's really bad. But if you make it evaporate super fast, you're not going to get all those terrible streaks and things that you get. Now if you can't remember the exact amounts that I'm doing here, I'll put the funnel on. Don't worry about it, because what I'm going to do is in the description box down below, I am going to put the exact amounts, so that you don't have to watch the whole video. Like if you watch this and you decide that you want to make this stuff, you will not have to watch the whole video again simply to get your measurements, okay? So now we're going to fill this bottle to the top. I see you can't see that too great. We're going to fill this bottle to the top with our water. You see it did not fill it all the way. And this is probably typically what it would make when I double it. And this, again, no measurements, just fill your bottle to the top. And because this water is quite hot, I'm not going to put the lid on it. And this is as high as I'm going to fill it, because I don't want it to fizz up on me. Okay, so you can see this is how high it is. Now, I'm going to add my oils to this. Again, 5 drops of tea tree or melaleuca. It is technically the same thing. And yet again, I'm not doing this. I don't want you to be sitting here for 20 minutes watching me do this. You can definitely make these in about 20 to 30 minutes, including boiling your water. But you don't need to sit here in front of your computer or sit on your phone and watch me just kind of stand here and watch water boil. My kids are actually not in this one, because all 3 of them right now are in their bedroom playing with my husband, because my husband is a saint. Okay, now we're going to take 10 drops of eucalyptus oil and 10 drops of peppermint oil. Now, both of these actually do have cleaning power, but let's be honest here, when you're cleaning windows and mirrors, you're not needing a whole lot of actual cleaning. What you're really needing is just getting smudges off, which smudges are caused by oil typically. But the vinegar and the alcohol really are what's doing the job here. These oils are in here because I love the smell. You do not have to put those in here. You can leave them out completely if you want, if you don't have them. So now we're putting the peppermint in. There it goes. Okay, and this is your window cleaner. Now, if this water was completely cool, which it's not too bad because there was quite a bit in there, what I would do is get little fizzes. Can you see that? Yeah. What I would typically do, but this is still a little too warm for my comfort, is I would just take the nozzle and put back on here and then shake it up to combine it. But like I said, you don't want to do that when it's still warm, so I'm just going to put it back over here. Now, we talked about combining baking soda and Castile soda, or baking soda and vinegar, and Castile soap and vinegar. Now here's the important one. Now, as far as I know, there are only about 3 ingredients that should not be combined with vinegar. If there's anyone else out there that's been doing this a while and has discovered other ingredients that shouldn't be combined, go ahead and let me know. But this one is the big one, and that would be vinegar and hydrogen peroxide. Now, vinegar is, especially once you're getting into the natural community, vinegar is definitely known for its disinfectant properties. It can kill pretty much anything, and now more and more mainstream companies and people like that, they're realizing this, and so it's great. And so hydrogen peroxide, we of course know, is a wonderful, wonderful disinfectant. Now, you should not put it on your skin because it is a debriding agent and it actually causes a little bit of cellular death. So you should not use it on cuts and scrapes. I know that's kind of the old school thing. That's what we grew up our parents grew up doing to us, but really you shouldn't do that. Of course, I'm not a doctor, so you want to put it on something, you go ahead, but I strictly use it for cleaning in my home. It is an amazing disinfectant. And so you probably have I've seen some recipes where people are thinking, we'll mix these together and we'll create the ultimate disinfectant. That way people don't have to go buy bleach. We don't buy bleach. And so let's say that you've used your wooden cutting board and you've cut up raw meat on it. Well, yeah, because wood is porous as well, especially if it's not waxed properly, wood is quite porous. And so it's going to soak up all kinds of nasty, so you definitely want to clean it well. Well, unfortunately, when you mix together hydrogen peroxide and vinegar, you get something called peracetic acid. Now, some of you might actually, that name might be ringing a few bells, and actually the reason why it is because peracetic acid is just like a couple of molecules or whatever. It's almost the same, chemically it's almost the exact same thing as bleach. So if we're trying to avoid bleach in our homes, why are we making it? And one of the reasons why we're trying to avoid bleach in our home is because it is so caustic. It can cause lots of breathing problems. The fumes are horrendous, and it is, it's not as cheap as, say, a jug of vinegar. Or it might be, but I really don't think it is. Plus, you can buy vinegar on food money. So anyway, you do not want to combine the two because, like I said, they create peracetic acid. And if you've done it before, it's not a big deal. Like I said earlier, you don't have to call the hazmat team into your house or anything like that. But if it is made on a larger scale, like I know some people will actually use it to remove stains because hydrogen peroxide is amazing at removing stains, and vinegar is quite good at that too, and so they try to combine the two. Well, that's a lot, and that's releasing a lot of fumes, and it can actually cause asthma and irritation to the mucous membranes and to the skin if you get it on the skin, because like I said, it is quite caustic. So you do not want to do that, so make sure that that's another one that you do not combine. Now, I talked to you a little bit about oils, and I've shown you the oils that I have used today. Like I said, I've used orange, I've used tangerine, I've used peppermint, eucalyptus, and tea tree. Out of all of those oils, if I had to choose, like let's say you were only going to get a very select few, I would say peppermint, tea tree, and instead of orange, I would go with lemon. Orange is a little bit more versatile than lemon, but orange is just what I have, which is why my lemon is gone, because I use it so much. So if you're on a very, very limited budget and you want to buy oils, but you do not want to buy a lot, I would start with those three, and I would add in lavender, because lavender can go in anything, especially if you want to delve into skincare and hair care and lotions and things like that as well. Now, onto the oils. You can buy oils at Walmart. I do not recommend it because they come in, this is actually one from Walmart. See, this is a 0.34 fluid, this is a 10 ml bottle right here, see. This cost almost as much as this. Okay, and this is 1 fluid ounce, so this is 30 mLs. You get my drift? Now, you can buy these off of Amazon. Amazon really offers the best price on Now essential oils, and Amazon sells tons of Now products, but GNC sells them now too, and I know that the majority of my viewers, at least right now, live in my area, and so the GNC that is right in front of Walmart has now essential oils. They also sell several of their carrier oils, and they sell Castile soaps. So, and it's Dr. Bronner's. You can get Castile soap from our Walmart now too, but it is not Dr. Bronner's brand. So that being said, Amazon does typically offer the lowest price, but I do know that some of us are not, for one reason or another, are not able to order online, or you just need it like right now. You can go to, at least if you live in our area, you can run down the GNC and get it. Now, if you absolutely, let's say an oil costs $2 at Walmart and the exact same oil costs $5 at Walmart, and you only have $4 and you absolutely have to have it, they cost more than that, but you know what I mean. By all means, buy it from Walmart. They are still decent oils. I have used them, especially in some cleaning recipes, so they do still work. I'd go with now for quality, for selection. This is my box of oils. That's what I'm gesturing to. Just go with now, okay? So I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover today. My next video I'm going to do on some body care recipes. I'm going to try to do 2 to 3 depending on, because like I said, I don't want to have the video too long for you. So if you have some very specific ones that you want, oh, that was it. If you have some very specific ones that you want to see, let me know. However, right now, I'm getting a lot of requests for particular things that people want to see recipes for. But at this moment, until I get a good set of videos, I'm only going to be doing videos on things that I myself use. And the reason why is because all of these things that I use in my home, I have developed the recipes myself. I have used recipes and then tweaked them to suit my home. But if I take recipes for things that I myself don't use, then I'm going to have no experience with it. I'm not going to be able to back it. I'm not going to be able to test it. You know, like people are asking for dishwasher tabs. I don't have a dishwasher. So my mom wants a glass stovetop cleaner. Yes, mama. Yes. It's not a glass top. So I will definitely be willing to work with people, and we can do like guinea pigs and partnerships and things like that. That is totally fine. But as of right now, everything's going to be basic, and it is going to be what suits me first. Once I get all of that out of the way, I will start branching out and working with other people. Like I'm going to share my recipe for shampoo and conditioner, like I said the other day. Well, of course, it's for hair like mine. It's for hair that's quite dry and coarse. If you have oily hair, that's probably not going to work for you, but I'm going to try to work on that so everybody has something eventually, okay? So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, any words of inspiration or truth or anything like that, you can comment down below, or you can talk to me on Facebook or message me or do whatever you need to do. Please comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, because the more views I get, obviously the more people are going to watch it, because it's going to come up more in tags on searches and things like that. Please share as much as you can. And I really thank everyone for taking the time to watch me. And don't forget, I will put your recipes down there in the description box so that you don't have to watch this a million times. Of course, they need to give me a million views. All right. Well, thanks everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.